It is my favorite day of the week. It is Tuesday, which means it is time for another edition of Let's Talk Tuesdays. I know this is your favorite day of the week too, because you guys are pumped to see more Let's Talk Tuesdays. I know it, you know it. This week, we had the most questions ever, I think, in the history of Let's Talk Tuesdays. I had so many questions. I tried to get as many as I can in. We're going to see how we go, and I think we're going to cover a lot of good stuff. Some of the stuff that I'm going to cover, I've went into more detail on some of my previous videos. So if you haven't already, go and check out my Summerslam post show with MathWiz and Ian Hansen Wrestling. We put on a really good show there. We talked a lot about SummerSlam in depth and a bit more about the future of the WWE as well. So I encourage you all to go and check that out. So without further ado, let's get into today's questions. The first question comes from Celtic Warrior. Do you like John Cena's new attire? Not really. I don't think so. I can't really say that I like John Cena's attires ever. He hasn't really had a good shirt or anything like that for a while. Nothing that I would ever even think about buying. Obviously, it's marketed towards little kids, so the colors and the happy-go-lucky mottos and quotes and things on it. So whatever, it is what it is. But I wouldn't be seen dead wearing his shirt. But it is okay. It's a little bit different to what we've seen from him. So sure, why not? Unicorn, what are your expectations on the upcoming WWE 2k15 game now that the majority of the roster has been revealed? Well, the roster reveal was very, very disappointing. That was a shocking reveal. Honestly, not happy about that. That was a really piss-poor effort from 2K there. I don't know what they really were thinking. You advertise a roster reveal, but you only reveal half the roster. That is a bit of a warning sign to me about the game. Now, I've always been very, very positive about the game. I'm thinking it's going to be the greatest WWE game of all time, but it hasn't really started off on the right foot. There's been no gameplay trailers yet. The game is coming out in 2 months. It's a little worrying. I know we've seen leaked footage, and it looks good, but the roster, the only surprises so far were Tyson Kidd and Justin Gabriel for me, which I think is a good addition. I'm happy they're in the game. I think they may play some part of the NXT modes, perhaps. And, probably a bit of lack of legends. And obviously, we went on the forum. I think we counted nearly like 20 people that are, active competitors, active wrestlers right now in the WWE that are not on the roster. So that's really concerning. I think, the leaked stuff and the spoilers or whatever you want to call it, they said there was going to be about 92 roster spots. I think they announced at least 60-something. So there is obviously a lot of room to add more people in. I really hope they do, because right now I'm not happy with the roster. I want to see more of the guys in there. I want to see everybody that's currently an active wrestler that's signed with the WWE to be in the game. And so far they don't have that, so straight away I'm not happy about it. I think they could obviously turn it around, and I just hope that WWE is up to date. This game, obviously a lot of new changes just happened in the WWE with the new logos and new belts. I just hope the game itself is up to date. Or if not, they add in a new update ASAP to the game to make it up to date, because there's nothing worse than having a dated game before the game is already out. So that's a bit of a worry for the WWE 2k15 game. Hopefully it's not a worry. Hopefully they've already kind of added in the new titles and the new logo already. They probably already knew about this, in my opinion. They knew about this long before we did. So they probably were told about this maybe 2 months ago. So they branded and marketed the whole game around the new logo, which they did with the title. The cover for the game was actually with the new logo. So I have a feeling that they're fine. They probably already added in the new logo for everything they've already done. But the roster itself, a little disappointing, but we need to see more. Hopefully there is more to see. Sam Leona, out of all the former Shield, who will be the best champion out of all of them? I think it's going to be Roman Reigns, because obviously WWE decides who's the champions. I think Roman Reigns is going to be the next poster boy of the company, so in that case we're going to see Roman Reigns hold the title many, many times. But I think Ambrose and Seth Rollins, I get this question a lot, do I think they're going to be world champions as well? Yeah, I think they will be. I think they both have the potential to all be 3 legitimate main event guys for the future. I think they all are great superstars. I think they all have it. Obviously Ambrose and Rollins are fantastic wrestlers. Roman Reigns just has the look that, doesn't have the promo ability or anything like that, doesn't have the wrestling technical ability, but you don't need to be a technical wrestler to be successful in the WWE. Everybody knows that. So I don't know what this whole new kind of frame of mind is, especially from the internet wrestling people. They have this kind of thought process that if you can't put on a 5-star technical wrestling match, that you can't be successful, which is certainly not the case. Obviously, you have to be able to work it to some degree, but, you know, look at guys like Hulk Hogan, he could never fucking wrestle. Ultimate Warrior could never wrestle, but yet they're two of the biggest names of all time. So I think Roman Reigns overall will probably have more title reigns and more success as a singles guy, just because the WWE machine will promote him as that success. Here's an interesting one coming from NerdJock24. Brendan, Let's Talk Tuesday question. What would happen to Daniel Bryan if CM Punk stayed, considering Punk would have been buried by Triple H, so the match wouldn't have happened? Well, I don't know if Punk would have been buried by Triple H. I think Punk would have actually beaten Triple H at WrestleMania. What would have happened to Daniel Bryan? I don't know. I still think he would have found his way into the world title picture. I've said this before. I still think Daniel Bryan would have got himself in the title match somehow, because that's just the way the crowd wanted him to be. I don't know. I think if Punk had stayed, I don't think the fan support for Daniel Bryan would have been so severe. I think, you know, it would have been more, you know, okay, we've already got Punk, he's in a big profile match, okay, cool. Yeah, Daniel Bryan in a title match would have been good, but oh well, we still got Punk in one of the big main events, so whatever. I don't think it would have been, you know, I don't think Daniel Bryan would have got cheered, or, you know, people wouldn't have hijacked, quotation marks, Raw for Daniel Bryan so much if Punk was still around. But I still think Daniel Bryan would have found himself in the title picture, but he may not have won the title. I don't know, but well, who knows? You can't play what ifs. You know, we don't know what happened, but we don't know the full extent of the story, what they actually had planned either. So we need to wait for some shoot interviews. But you know, I'm not really going to speculate. So Bailey 14, probably the biggest thing to come out of this week. Do you like the new WWE Championship belt? Well, it's not really that different from the old one, but now we only have the one belt, which makes sense. Everybody can stop bugging me about, are they going to split the titles up? Are we going to see, you know, the title split? Are we going to go back to a brand split? No, I've been telling you all this time, they're going to keep the one title, and that's the way they should go. I don't know why people want to see two belts. The World Heavyweight Championship was a mid-card championship. You know, look at the names that won the World Heavyweight Championship. I should have probably pulled this up before the show, but, you know, like the Jack Swagger. Del Rio held it many times. Now, obviously, Del Rio had the world title, WWE title as well. But, you know, Sheamus has been champion, you know, Big Show, Henry. You know, we haven't really seen, you know, a great world champion, you know. I don't know, man. I don't know why people want to see the World Heavyweight Championship back. You know, it's a glorified mid-card championship belt. And I honestly think a lot of those title reigns in recent years should not have counted as World Heavyweight, you know, world title reigns. Because, you know, the World Heavyweight Championship belt hasn't been treated as such for a long time before it was split. So, honestly, the best thing that has happened to that championship was being, you know, unified with the WWE Championship. Have the one belt, and it makes Brock Lesnar look like the fucking god, because who the hell is going to stop Brock Lesnar? Who's going to take the belt of Brock Lesnar? There's no other belts to fight for unless you want to go to Intercontinental and United States Championship. Other than that, if you want to be a world champion, you have to beat Brock Lesnar, which makes Brock Lesnar even more of the man. So in my opinion, the one belt is good. The title belt itself, the look of it, it's okay. I don't mind it. You know, I think it's a little silly not having champion of some regard on the belt. I think it might actually be very, very small, and I heard a rumor, but I don't know. So it's okay. It gets a pass. The other, I didn't like the actual new title belt that The Rock debuted either, but it grew on me, and then I did like it. So yeah, I think this one will probably grow on me as well over the next coming months. The real 1999 Royal, who do you think will be the next United States Champion? I don't know if it's going to be the next United States Champion, but who do I want to be the next United States Champion? Rusev. I've said it many times in the show, so I'm not going to get into it, but I think Rusev would be the perfect United States Champion. Book it, WWE. He's the man. Bailey 14, how do you feel about having 10,000 subscribers? Well, I obviously did a big 40-minute video about me reaching 10,000 subscribers, so I'm not going to go into much detail again. But if you haven't already, please check out that video. It's me just giving a bit of a brief, well not brief, but a very in-depth explanation of how BrendenPlayz, the channel, all came about. How do I feel about having 10,000 subscribers? Fan-fucking-tastic. I can't, you know, cannot believe that I have it. I couldn't thank you guys more than enough. So thank you so much for 10,000 once again. Lonely Spartan, favorite wrestling podcast and favorite wrestling podcast episode. Well, my favorite wrestling podcast that's not from a wrestler itself, I like the Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle show. I don't know if you guys heard that one, but they really get some good conversations going there. I really like that one, so that's if I'm going to go for two guys that aren't actually in the business to talk about wrestling, that's where I go to. And I also like, you know, I like the guys from Podcast One, so like Stone Cold's podcast, Jim Ross's podcast, and Chris Chris Jericho's podcast. My favorite episode, I don't know, I think the Edge Paul Heyman one on Jericho's show was pretty good, but there's been a lot of good ones on there, so any of those 3 shows are really, really good, so I highly recommend them. This next one comes from Nabako7. What would your reaction be if Seth Rollins cashes in his Money in the Bank contract on Brock Lesnar unsuccessfully? Well, I would probably laugh because it would be funny. And honestly, I can't really see Seth Rollins winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I honestly cannot. I don't know when they're going to get him to cash in. If he's going to win the championship belt, when the hell is he going to hold the title for? I have no idea. I really can't see it fitting in the WWE's frame of mind right now, unless he does cash in on Lesnar and Lesnar decides, oh, well, I don't care, I'm going to take some time off and come back at the Royal Rumble. I don't know, but I would probably laugh. It'd be pretty funny to me. I'm not even going to attempt the last name of this one, so I'm just going to say Lena. Do you think Barrett will win the Intercontinental Championship back when he returns from injury? And do you think Cena and Brock will have more than one month rivalry? Regarding Barrett, I heard that he's going to be back around November to December. His doctors told him that he's going to be back at the start of December. So he's aiming for a little bit earlier than that. So at least whoever's the Intercontinental Champion now, so Dolph Ziggler, you know, if he does hold it, he's going to be holding it until, you know, around then, if Barrett's going to win it straight away back. I don't know if Barrett will. I think it's pretty likely, so yeah. And Cena and Brock was pretty obvious from Raw that they're going to have another match at Night of Champions, so yeah, they'll have another one. I just think the one more, though. I don't think they'll have 3. This next question comes from Cobhead Jake. Do you think the Rusev vs. Henry rivalry will just last 1 month, or will it be longer? Also, do you think Henry could be the man to give Rusev his first legit loss? No, I don't think Henry's going to beat Rusev. I think this one will just be one match, if they do actually have a match, which I think they obviously will now. So at Night of Champions, I think Mark Henry versus Rusev will happen, and I think Mark Henry will put Rusev over and be done with it, and probably go back to be the tag team potential champions with Big Show. You know, go back into contendership with that. Jackaman LOL31, what did you think of SummerSlam? Well, I gave my full details in my SummerSlam post-show, obviously, but just to give you a quick recap, I thought it was a good show. I thought it was better than last year's SummerSlam, which I was hoping it would be, and I would probably give the show a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Better than WrestleMania? Oh, I don't know. That's tough. I think they're both probably around the same. So, really enjoyed the show. Thought it was good from top to bottom. There's no real complaint from me at all. CM Orton, will you unify the WWE and the World Heavyweight Championship in your WWE 2k14 Universe mode? No, I will not, because obviously my WWE 2k14 Universe mode is set around a brand split between Raw and SmackDown. So if you're going to do a brand split, you can't really have the one championship belt, because then you have all the top guys, and essentially everybody wants to be world champion, right? So essentially everyone is split. You know, there's no brand split, so everyone's united, and there is no more brand splits. So to have a successful brand split, you need to have 2 championship belts, which is why the WWE situation right now in the real life doesn't make sense, because they don't have the brand split. So what's the point having 2 championship belts for combined rosters? There is none. So that's why having a unified championship makes sense. This next one comes from Ken and Andy Games. What are your early WrestleMania 31 match card predictions, and do you think The Undertaker will have another match again, maybe against Sting at WrestleMania 31? Well, my early WrestleMania 31 predictions, I think we will see Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. I know that's pretty predictable to say, but I think it's going to happen. I think Undertaker and Sting is going to happen. Honestly, I do think it will happen. And it's kind of hard to kind of think about it. I think maybe we may even see Batista versus Triple H. I know Batista wants to have his final match against Triple H, so maybe we won't see that at 31. We may see that at 32. But that might be a little thing to see. But a lot of people want to see like the Shield like the Triple Threat Shield guys. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know. It's so hard to predict it. I'm hopeless, so I'm really giving you a really shitty answer. But honestly, I can't think of anything right now other than the matches I gave you. Crumbled Cookie 5. Will Christian ever be in the Hall of Fame? I think so. I think he's had a Hall of Fame career. A couple of time World Heavyweight Champion. Many time Tag Team Champion, Intercontinental Champion. Did he win the US title? I don't think so. So he's had a lot of title runs, plus he's had a longevity in the company, over 15, 16 years in the company. So in my opinion, he's had a Hall of Fame career. Will he be rushed into the Hall of Fame? No, I don't think so. But I think maybe 10 years down the track, we'll see Christian in the Hall of Fame. But they also may capitalize on the fact that he's just retired well, he hasn't retired yet, but when he does retire, they may capitalize on that, just like they did with Edge, and put him in straight away, so he has that kind of appeal right now, since he's not a huge superstar, but he's certainly Hall of Fame worthy. I think he probably just gets over the line, in my opinion, but certainly deserves to be there. And today's final question comes from Lonely Spartan. What is your favorite Fozzy song? Well, I do like Fozzy. I do like Chris Jericho. My favorite song, well, it used to be She's My Addiction off their, not the newest one, but the one before that. I think Sin and Bones, that album. But I think Unstoppable on the new album is probably my new one. I also like Lights Go Out and SOS are pretty good on his new album. I think the new album was pretty good, so if you haven't heard it, definitely check it out. Guys, that'll do it from this week's edition of Let's Talk Tuesdays. If I didn't get into your question, I apologize. We had so many. I probably could have answered a couple more, but whatever. Make sure you leave your questions for next week's show in the comment section down below or over at the official thread on my forums, BrendenPlayz.com/forums. The link to that will be in the description down below. You can get your questions answered there or on the comments. Either or, put your question there. Make sure it is a good one. It's kind of up to date with what's happening in the WWE, or it's a general question like, you know, WrestleMania 31 match card predictions or something like that. Something that I can answer, something that I haven't answered before. I got a lot of questions this week that I've already answered on the show before, so make sure you're up to date with what I've answered. So guys, thank you so much for checking out the episode again today. I hope I see you all again next Tuesday.